Hi guys, Assalamualaikum and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Arina, and if you are coming back, I hope you all are doing well at home. So today's video, I am going to do a review on the Hourglass palette. It is the Lighting Edit mini palette. This is a yearly palette for them. They always come out with a holiday palette. It's limited edition. You can only get for a limited time. I just picked up this one. They do have a larger version of it which have 6 shades in it, but I just got this one because to me it is a travel friendly palette. I have enough formula from Hourglass that I want to test out. So this is what the palette looks inside. It looks very pretty, sleek, and it has an architectural touch to it, so it is not fully smooth. As always, Hourglass always have this reflective mirror packaging. By the way, this is the Lighting Edit Mini. It is RM280 ringgit from Sephora's website and also in store. In here, you'll get 4 powders. One is finishing powder in soft light, bronzer, golden bronze light, blush, mood flush, and the last powder is metallic strobe powder, champagne strobe light. I believe these powders in here are already available in last year's holiday collection. So if you already have that palette, you don't really need to get this one. I haven't tried any Hourglass powders formula, so I'm very excited to try this one. It comes with a mirror, and these are the powders in here: the blush, finishing powder, bronzer, and also the metallic strobe light. I purposely pick up this one because the other palette doesn't have this metallic strobe light. These shades in here is not available individually, so you only can get these shades from the limited edition palette. I know there's tons of review on this palette, so I'm gonna test it out on my medium skin tone. I already have my foundation, concealer, powders, and also I did full freckles on my face. I don't have any eye products or eye makeup because I want to test this on my eyelids as well. So first, I am swatching this shade at the back of my hand so you can see how they swatch. So this is the finishing powder. Next is this bronzer in the shade Bronze Light. It basically disappears because it is similar to my skin tone. I hope that it will build up. You can already see some color there. It's not a matte shade. I can see sheen there. The next one is the blusher in the shade Mood Flush. So this is the blusher. So these powders are sheer even though I've built it up, so that means that can be a positive point. If you're heavy-handed like me, you won't over apply this powder on your face. And then the last powder is this metallic strobe in the shade Champagne Strobe Light. So these are the 4 shades. First is the finishing powder, second is the bronzer, and then the blush, and lastly is the metallic strobe. First, I'm going to apply the bronzer. I'm going to use a stippling brush for this. This is Morphe M406. The pen is quite small, so if you have a larger brush, you may accidentally dip onto this part here, the other powders. So it's showing up on my skin, which is nice. I'm just applying this bronzer on the areas where I will usually do. Okay, this is what the bronzer looks like on my skin. It gives me just enough bronze. It doesn't look too dark. If you have darker skin tone than me, I don't know if this color will show up on your skin, but if you have a lighter skin tone than me, this shade will definitely be more visible than what I have right now. But I'm happy with how it applied and how it performed on the skin. Even though I swatch it at the back of my hand and it has a sheen, but on my face I can't really see the sheen. So far I'm loving how this bronzer performed on my skin. And let's move on to blusher. So I'm going to apply this blusher using a Japanese blush brush. Yeah, this blusher definitely show up on my skin immediately after I apply it. Not like the bronzer, I have to build up the pigmentation. But this blusher is the other way around. One dip and you can already see the pigmentation on my skin. And if you have a lighter skin tone than me, maybe you need to apply it light-handedly. It has a pink mauve shade. Blusher also applies smoothly on top of my skin, and it blends very beautifully with the bronzer as well. I don't see any streaks. So before we move on to the highlighter, I'm going to apply this bronzer on my lids. I haven't set it with powders. It acts as a base, sticky base, to grab onto the powder. Okay, it does show out on my lids. You can see the difference. This one doesn't have the bronzer, just the concealer, and this one is with the bronzer. I'm also applying it under the eyes too. Well, now we're going to apply this strobe light powder, which I'm very excited for. I'm using a highlighter brush for this. Oh, it's very subtle. Okay, this highlighter, I pick it up with a brush and it does have tons of kickback compared to the two powders that I have used. They don't have that many kickback. If you're concerned about that, just letting you guys know. Even though it's a metallic strobe light, it still looks natural. Oh, I think I know how to apply it. Pick it up with a brush and you get the most bit off from the blusher. I'm also going to use it to highlight the inner corner, so nose, tip of my nose, just on the usual part. And now I'm going to take the previous blush brush, blend the highlighter with the brush so that it doesn't look like one stripe. And finally, the, what is it called, finishing powder in soft light. I'm going to pick it up with a fluffy big brush like this and then dust it all over the face, since it's a finishing powder, so I feel like it helps to blend the powder products together. I think with this powder, my skin looks like more airbrushed, soft and diffused looking, if you know what I mean. I totally get the hype of this powder. And right now I'm going to do a simple wing liner and I'll be right back to give you my thoughts on this palette. Okay, I set my face using Catrice Prime and Fine Multi-Talent Fixing Spray. I just want to finish this up. I actually forgot to apply the metallic strobe light on the center, just like a spotlight and pop to make the center of my eyes brighter. So I'm picking up with a brush and then pop it on the center. Makeup is basically finished, so the pop of light on the center, this did add something to the whole look, so I really love it. So finally, my thought is I really like this palette. Do you really need to get out and go out and purchase it? I don't think so. On my head, I can already think of a dupe for each of the powders in here, like this strobe powder. Maybe I will do a drugstore dupe for each of this powder in here. I can see the sheen that this powder gives off after a few minutes. I think it blends with my natural oil, and the setting spray as well does help to bring out the sheen from this powder. If you want to try Hourglass formulation, I think this palette is a good start. Formulation for their powders specifically. This is a limited edition, so if you really want to try their formula, this palette is a good start. And I think their single compact powder will cost almost 200 ringgit, which is so expensive, and this palette, the whole palette, cost 283 ringgit, which is still expensive, but you can get a feel of 4 of their powder finish. So you can get this if you really want to try Hourglass formulation. By the way, I filmed this on natural lighting, so all of these lights came from the sun, so this is how you will look, or how I will look in real life. And I think that's it for today's video. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and let me know if you pick up this year's holiday collection and what you think of it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you guys in my next one. Bye. Assalamualaikum.